"We didn't order for you," my brother said as his kids dug into $100 steaks. My son sat there with an empty plate. His wife smirked. "You should have packed snacks." I just smiled and said, "Good to know." When the waiter came back, I looked at him and said, the clatter of silverware on porcelain was the only sound I allowed myself to focus on. It was a precise, rhythmic noise. A symphony of privilege played out on my late father's dime. My brother, Mark, sawed into a piece of filet mignon that was probably worth more than my weekly grocery budget. His two children, my niece and nephew, mimicked him with practiced miniature savagery, their faces smeared with béarnaise sauce. They were digging into $100 steaks, and my son, my 7-year-old Sam, sat beside me with an empty plate, his small hands folded neatly in his lap, his eyes wide and uncomprehending. The white expanse of ceramic in front of him was a declaration of war. It was an accusation. It was an absence so profound, it felt like a physical presence at the table. "We didn't order for you." Mark had said it so casually, a verbal shrug, as the waiter placed the plates before them. He didn't look at me. He didn't look at Sam. He looked at his steak, as if its perfect medium-rare cross-section was the most fascinating thing in the world. The words hung in the air, thick and greasy like the smell of rendered beef fat. It wasn't an oversight. It was a statement, carefully crafted and delivered with the precision of a surgeon who intended to maim, not heal. My sister-in-law, Clarice, the architect of this entire miserable performance, offered a smirk that didn't quite reach her cold, calculating eyes. "You should have packed snacks, Leo," she chimed in, her voice a saccharine poison. "You know how these places can be, and with your situation." She let the word hang there. Situation, a euphemism for my 5 years of hard-won sobriety, for my single-parent status, for the financial tightrope I walked every single day since my wife passed. She wielded my struggles like a weapon, and tonight she was twisting the blade. I felt Sam flinch beside me, a tiny, almost imperceptible movement. He was trying to be brave, trying to be the little man I was always telling him he was. But I saw the tremor in his lower lip, the sheen of moisture in his big brown eyes. He was hungry, yes, but more than that, he was confused. He was hurt. He adored his Uncle Mark, idolized his older cousins. And in this opulent, wood-paneled room, surrounded by the ghosts of 1,000 celebratory dinners our family had shared here over the years, he was being told, in no uncertain terms, that he did not belong, that he was not wanted. Rage, hot and familiar, coiled in my gut. It was an old friend, a dangerous companion I had learned to keep locked away. For 5 years, I had starved it, denied it, meditated it into submission. I could feel it rattling the bars of its cage now, begging to be let out. It wanted to scream. It wanted to flip the heavy oak table. It wanted to grab my brother by his bespoke collar and ask him what kind of man, what kind of brother, does this to his own blood in front of a child. But I couldn't. Giving in to that rage was exactly what Clarice wanted. It would be the proof she was so desperate to manufacture, that I was unstable, unreliable, the same reckless mess I had been half a decade ago. Proof that I was an unfit father. So I took a breath. I felt the burn in my lungs, the frantic pounding in my chest. I looked across the table, past my brother's deliberate ignorance, and met Clarice's triumphant gaze. I gave her nothing. Not the anger she craved, not the hurt she expected. I just smiled, a thin, tight curve of my lips that felt more like a snarl. "Good to know," I said. The words were quiet, but they landed with the weight of stones in the sudden silence. Mark faltered, his fork halfway to his mouth. Clarice's smirk flickered, a brief moment of uncertainty crossing her features. They had expected a scene. I gave them 2 words of chilling civility. I turned my attention to my son. I placed a hand on his shoulder, giving it a gentle squeeze. "Hey, buddy," I whispered, leaning in close so only he could hear. "How about you and I order the biggest, most ridiculously expensive thing on the menu?" Full story on channel link below.